In the beautiful, fast-moving city of Lekki lived a couple everyone admired, Segun and Tomi. From the outside, their marriage looked perfect. Segun was handsome, hardworking, and one of Lagos's most promising young contractors. Tomi was the kind of woman that made people stare. Soft-spoken, elegant, and graceful. They lived in a lovely duplex with silver gates and shiny tiles. To neighbors, they were the picture of love and success. But behind those walls, peace had quietly disappeared. Segun had become married to his work. From morning till night, he chased contracts, attended meetings, and traveled for business. Every day, he told himself he was doing it for his family, but Tomi only saw a husband who had forgotten how to love. She would wake up early, cook his breakfast, and wait for him to eat. But he would rush out saying, "I'll eat on the road, my dear. I have a meeting by 9." At night, he returned home too tired to talk. Tomi would sit beside him, watching him type on his laptop, while she longed for just a few words. "Segun," she said one evening, her voice low, "you don't even look at me again." Without raising his eyes, he replied, "Tomi, please, I'm doing this for us. Let me make money first. Love will follow." Her heart broke. She turned away, feeling like a ghost in her own home. She didn't know that those small cracks of loneliness were slowly opening into a deep wound that would soon destroy everything. One Saturday afternoon, Segun's best friend, Wale, came visiting. Wale was everything Segun was not. Lively, flashy, and free. He was the kind of man who never went unnoticed. He drove a red Mercedes, wore expensive perfume, and loved to talk. "Madame Tomi!" he shouted cheerfully as he entered with a carton of wine. "Ah, see this fine woman! If I were Segun, I'd never let you out of my sight." "Hatamu," she laughed shyly. "Good afternoon, Wale. You and your mouth won't kill somebody." He grinned. "You know I only speak the truth. Where's that my workaholic friend?" "He went for a meeting," she replied softly. "Ah, that man will chase money until money runs from him. Always serious. No time to enjoy life." Tomi smiled weakly, pouring him a drink. They sat and talked for a while, and for the first time in a long time, she found herself laughing freely. Wale was sunny, caring, and full of life, the complete opposite of the husband who now treated her like furniture. From that day, Wale started visiting more often. Sometimes he would call first. Other times he would just appear with gifts, groceries, perfume, even shawarma. At first, Tomi tried to stop him. "Wale, you can't keep buying things for me like this. Segun might not like it." He smiled and waved it off. "Forget Segun. I'm only showing appreciation to a beautiful woman. You deserve small happiness." He made her laugh again and again. He listened when she complained. He helped her fix things around the house. Slowly, she began to wait for his visits, dressing neatly whenever she suspected he might come around. She told herself it was harmless friendship, but in her heart, she knew she was walking on dangerous ground. One Friday evening, the sky darkened and rain began to pour heavily. Segun had traveled to Abuja for a meeting, leaving Tomi alone in the house. Around 9, she heard a loud knock at the gate and a familiar voice shouting, "Tomi, it's me, Wale! Open up before this rain kills me!" She ran out and opened the door. He was drenched from head to toe, his white shirt clinging tightly to his body. "Oh, Wale, what happened to you?" "My car broke down, near the junction. I was coming from the island when rain started. Beg, let me stay till it reduces." She nodded quickly. "Come inside before you catch cold." She handed him a towel and made him hot tea. They sat laughing about how crazy the Lagos rain was. Then silence fell. Their eyes met, and in that moment, something unspoken passed between them. "Wale," she said softly. "You shouldn't be here like this. People might talk." He smiled faintly. "I don't care what people think. All I care about is you. You're too lonely in this house." She swallowed hard. "Stop it! You're my husband's friend." "And you're a woman who deserves love," he replied, moving closer. "Wale, please." But before she could say another word, he kissed her. At first, she pushed him away, but his hands were gentle, his voice soft, and her resistance melted like ice under the sun. That night, the thunder outside wasn't as loud as the storm that started inside the house. The next morning, guilt hit her like a slap. She couldn't look at herself in the mirror. Wale tried to act normal, but every time she saw him, her heart raced. He began to send messages. "I miss you. When can I see you again?" She ignored some, replied others. Each time she told herself, this is the last time, but somehow she always found herself back in his arms. When Segun returned, she tried to act normal. She cooked his favorite meal, forced smiles, and pretended nothing had happened. But guilt made her restless. She jumped at every sound, avoided his eyes, and stayed unusually quiet. "Are you all right?" he asked one evening. "I'm fine," she lied, turning away. Segun studied her carefully. Something was different. His instincts told him something was wrong. He didn't confront her immediately. Instead, he started observing. He noticed small changes. Her constant phone checking, the new perfume smell, her sudden coldness. Then one day, he found that some cash he kept in his study had gone missing. He didn't think of cheating. He thought maybe one of the housemaids was stealing. So, he quietly called a technician to install tiny hidden cameras around the house, one in the living room, another near the dining area, and one by the hallway. A few days later, while at his office, he decided to check the footage. What he saw shattered him completely. There was his wife, his beautiful Tomi, laughing, hugging, and kissing Wale. Segun froze. His hand trembled on the mouse. He paused the video, hoping it was a dream. Then he replayed it slower. It was real. The two people he trusted most had betrayed him. He sat back, heart pounding. Tears filled his eyes, but his pride refused to let them fall. After a minute, he whispered, "Wale, my best friend. Tomi, my wife. You two have killed something inside me today." He didn't confront them. He didn't shout or break things. He simply closed the laptop and made a silent decision. That evening, when he returned home, he smiled warmly at Tomi and kissed her forehead. She was surprised. "You're in a good mood today." He chuckled. "Life is short, my dear. I just realized we should appreciate people while we can." Her heart skipped. She didn't know if it was guilt or fear, but something about his calmness frightened her. In the following days, Segun acted loving again. He took her to dinner, bought her gifts, and laughed often. Tomi began to relax, believing maybe everything was going back to normal. Wale, too, thought all was well when Segun called him one day. "Guy," Segun said cheerfully on the phone, "I get one new project. I need your help." Wale laughed. "You know I'm always ready, my man." Segun smiled to himself. "Perfect. We go travel next weekend for inspection." That trip was the beginning of the end. On the road to Epe, the two friends chatted and joked. Then Segun turned to him and said quietly, "Wale, do you believe in karma?" Wale laughed. "Of course! Whatever you sow, you reap. Why that question?" Segun looked ahead, eyes cold. "Nothing. I was just thinking out loud." Minutes later, The car swerved off the road and crashed. People rushed to the scene. When the smoke cleared, Segun crawled out, bleeding but alive. Wale was unconscious, trapped in the wreck. An ambulance came. Wale was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. That night, the news spread around Lekki. Wale, the popular contractor, involved in a ghastly accident. When Tomi heard, she screamed and fainted. She thought she was being punished by God himself. Segun returned home that night, calm and expressionless. When she ran to hug him, he just said softly, "God sees everything." Then he walked past her into the bedroom. From that day, Tomi's life became a living nightmare. She couldn't sleep.
Each time she closed her eyes, she saw Wale's face, bloody and lifeless. She stopped eating, lost weight, and jumped at every little sound. Sometimes she thought she heard whispers in the house. Once she saw Wale's reflection in the mirror and screamed until the neighbors came knocking. Segun said nothing. He watched her quietly, going about his daily routine as if nothing had happened. But inside him, he felt a strange satisfaction, watching guilt destroy her slowly. One night, unable to bear it anymore, Tomi knelt before him, tears streaming down her face. "Segun, please forgive me," she cried. He turned his head slightly. "Forgive you? For what?" Her lips trembled. "You know. Please, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me." He stood up, staring down at her. "Tomi, the day you betrayed me, something in me died. I don't hate you, but I will let your own heart punish you." He walked away, leaving her sobbing on the cold floor. Later that night, when darkness filled the room, the TV suddenly flickered on by itself. Tomi turned in shock. The screen showed the hidden camera footage, she and Wale laughing, touching and kissing. She screamed, covering her face. Then she heard Segun's calm voice behind her. "Secrets don't stay buried forever." She turned, trembling. He stood by the doorway, face calm, but eyes cold. "Segun, please," she cried, crawling toward him. He said nothing, only picked up the remote, turned off the TV, and walked away, leaving her in total darkness. From that night, Tomi could no longer live in peace. She jumped at every sound, refused to pick up calls, and sometimes sat for hours staring into space. Her guilt became her prison. And Segun? He continued his life quietly, wearing a smile that hid deep pain. The world saw a strong man, but only he knew how broken he truly was. They both lived under the same roof, but the warmth between them was gone forever, replaced by silence, guilt, and shadows that whispered of betrayal. Moral lesson. A secret sin may stay hidden for a while, but it always finds its way to the light. When you betray the one you love, you don't just lose them, you lose yourself. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more captivating, interesting African folktale stories. Thank you for watching.